Last summer, I took my 8-year-old son to a carnival while we were visiting friends in Cleveland. We warmed up with some sedate rides and then turned our attention to the most exciting ride, the Wipeout. Now, like any 8-year-old, my son is an aspiring YouTuber, and so I dutifully filmed the experience. At first, he's grinning while commentating as the ride starts, and then things start to get a bit wobbly. I hate it, he says, but he still has a little smile on his face. And then all of a sudden, his face changes as his stomach drops. He is clearly not having fun anymore. Get me off, are the last words he says before I cut the video off. Now, what my son experienced in 60 seconds, the consumer economy is experiencing across different product categories. Simultaneous resolve and fear, often within the same shopping cart. On one side, we're seeing dramatic spikes in sales volume. Baby formula sales are up a staggering 26 times week over week as consumers appear to be stockpiling ahead of expected tariff impact. On the other side, average selling prices across Amazon's top selling products have actually dropped, on average, dropping 0.8% year over year as shoppers increasingly hunt for bargains. We're witnessing today what I can only describe as a frugal frenzy, a contradictory behavior where consumers are panic buying certain products while actively trading down to cheaper alternatives across many other categories. This really isn't business as usual with some categories up and others down. It's a genuine whiplash that creates urgent challenges for brands selling online. I have here some data across different categories from Momentum Commerce, which they kindly shared with me. So we're going to dive into some of these trends that we're seeing and what it could mean for your brand strategy in such a volatile environment. Let's go. Good morning and welcome to the Retail Media Breakfast Club. I'm your host, Kiri Masters, and every weekday at 6 a.m. Eastern, I bring you candid and real discussions in the world of retail media and marketplaces in just 10 minutes. So bring your own cup of coffee and we'll get smarter about retail media together. So Momentum Commerce's data looks out across Amazon's top 1,000 third-party sellers. And what they're able to see here is some really good category level trends that we can extrapolate out. So across Amazon's top 1,000 sellers, the average selling price is down 0.8% year over year. Now, this is significant because this reverses what had been an upward trend earlier in 2025. We're generally seeing prices tick up over average, especially in an inflationary macroeconomic environment like we've had for the last couple of years. So this is actually dipping, and that's significant because it signals that even as consumers are buying more in some categories, they're gravitating towards cheaper options. So this means shoppers are concerned enough about potential shortages or future price hikes that they're actively stockpiling goods. But they're being price conscious enough to seek out bargains while doing it. Basically, panic buying on a budget. Let's get into some categories now. And this is where the evidence is clearest in everyday necessity categories. Take diapers, for example. This is not a discretionary category. You need diapers or you don't. Historically, dominant brands, from the big companies, the Huggies and Pampers of the world, historically have raised prices. But Momentum Commerce's data show that these dominant brands are losing ground to more affordable alternatives. For the top 100 diaper products on Amazon, the average selling price is down 3.9% year over year. Meanwhile, the historic bestsellers, that is the diaper ASINs that were in the top 100 at any point in 2024 have raised their prices by 6% year over year. So these historic best sellers have raised their prices, either trying to protect margins amid higher costs, or they believe that their brand equity can absorb some degree of price increase without losing too many customers. Meanwhile, because we're seeing the average selling price go down, this points to a move among shoppers towards newer or more budget-friendly options. So perhaps the inflation, the tariff concerns, or general economic uncertainty are pushing parents to pick cheaper diapers over the legacy premium brands. So this is very interesting, and it shows that in this type of environment, within certain categories, consumers are prepared to try something different, especially when it means saving a few bucks. So this could be an opportunity if you're more of a challenger brand. Now, I also mentioned panic buying, and what makes this environment challenging is the overlay of panic buying in certain categories. So there's some specific spikes noted in Momentum Commerce's data. One is baby formula, where sales are up 26 times week over week. Here's an interesting one. Olives and antipasto are up 13.7 times. And yoga clothing and supplies are up 13.3%. Now, these product categories aren't really seasonal. They really seem to reflect stockpiling behavior, potentially driven by concerns around tariffs and supply chain disruptions. And final trend I want to share from this data here is that not all categories are created equal. While the overall trend points towards frugality, some categories are bucking this pattern entirely. We're seeing really strong resilience in these more emotional purchase categories. For example, dog care products have seen a 5.1% increase in average selling price among the top 100 products. Makeup average prices are up 19% year over year, which is stunning. And then skincare continues to maintain premium positioning. So what makes these categories different? They are emotionally driven purchases where quality often trumps cost considerations. People might trade down on their paper towels or evidently baby diapers, but they're not skimping on their dog's food or on their personal appearances. So what smart brands should know now? Obviously, we're looking at this sort of two-speed marketplace situation. There's some categories that are value-driven, where consumers are trading down, and then there are some emotion-driven categories. And so the strategy to follow is going to be different for each. So in value-driven categories, some approaches might be introducing value tier products, smaller pack sizes, for example, creating bundle deals, leveraging promotional offers, and highlighting affordability in your messaging and helping people understand this might be a trade down opportunity for them. In these more emotion-driven categories, the pet products, the makeup, etc., double down on that quality messaging. Maintain that premium positioning without apology and resist the urge to discount unnecessarily. So this is not an easy environment to navigate, but what's clear from the data here is that it's not one size fits all. So much like my son's roller coaster experience on the Wipeout, we're witnessing consumers white knuckling their way through these times, seeing a shift in behavior that reflects broader economic anxiety. People are hedging their bets, they're stockpiling now to protect against future price increases, but also doing so with an eye towards value in certain categories. For brands and retailers alike, this creates both challenges and opportunities. Understanding where each product category falls on the spectrum from purely functional to deeply emotional is critical for navigating these turbulent waters. There's only one thing that's certain right now. None of us have an emergency stop button for this ride. Well, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Retail Media Breakfast Club. We meet here every day at 6 a.m. Eastern. So be sure to subscribe and get your daily dose of insights, trends, and hot takes in the world of retail media and marketplaces.